Well, hello. My name is Dr. Eric Hoytucker, and as I have alluded to in two of my other previous videos, I'm writing a vocal pedagogy book, but instead of writing it, I'm putting it all online and on YouTube, for which there is no charge, no buttons to push, and no payments to be made, right? Today's chapter is going to be devoted specifically to teaching how to turn over in the male voice. And basically, I've heard it called the cover, the hood, turning over. I like turning over. Vowel modification might be another way, a terminology that you've used or that you've heard. But bottom line, what we are trying to accomplish is that we get the same exact timbre of sound from the lowest part of the voice to the highest part of the voice. And that, of course, is achieved by keeping the same resonating space in the back of the pharynx. So in the back of the throat, we have the soft palate that rises and the larynx that slightly lowers. And so we want to find that space and we want to maintain that space as we are singing. The way we do that, the way we prepare that rather, is we breathe quietly, open, and sing. And you notice how my speaking voice changed because as I'm sitting here rambling off facts to you and trying to make my case, I'm not thinking about my breathing. It perhaps is a little bit noisy and therefore the larynx is a little bit high. Once again, the great thing about singing is there's always cause and effect. If you do this physically, it will make this sound. So once again, I'll demonstrate by taking the breath quietly as if I was going to sing. And you notice that there indeed is a change in the quality of the sound of my vocal instrument. So that's what we're going to achieve here today with one of my students, Oliver Gottbreht, who has graciously deigned to come here and play these reindeer games today. Oliver is 18 years old, and when he first came to me, there was no vibrato to the sound, so indicating no freedom, very rigid larynx, of course, and the pitch was also a little questionable, right? And of course, he screamed into the top, right? He sang musical theater tunes, which is really what he is hoping for. However, in today's market, we all know you have to be a marketable singer who can sing many different genres of music besides just musical theater. A little bit of opera, a little bit of oratorio, pop, commercials, you name it, right? So we're going to begin today with some vocal eases, and we'll build into turning into the top. So we maintain that space. Once again, in my earlier video on breath, I talk about the 9-foot Steinway, right? We want to keep that instrument at a 9-foot Steinway, and that's achieved by the breath. The palate goes up, the larynx goes down, pressure on your sphincter, or as if you're about to fart. Once again, in moderation, folks, right? That's how you find the way of stabilizing the larynx. So too much breath is not rushing through the folds and also creating a cracking noise. Okay, Oliver, let's start here, and let's do here ka-o on 5. Just a good quiet inhalation. Because at this point, this boy's worked this out pretty seamlessly. But that was from a low B natural up to a high F. And usually in the baritone voice, which is what I think Oliver is, high baritone, usually about E flat, E natural, you know, right around in there where that passaggio is, or maybe D even, right? Has to change. And once again, it's passaggio, it's not passaggio, it's not French, and it's not passaggio, right? But right there is where, generally speaking, the larynx begins to rise because we're getting out of the speaking range, inflection of the voice, right? He handles that very, very well. Another exercise I'm going to ask him to do here to demonstrate this, we're going to go down here, and I like this one. This is one of my favorites. It's where shall I go today? 1, 3, 5, 8, 5, 3, 1. And as we get up here in the baritone voice, I would probably say certainly the E flat and without a doubt the E natural. Those have to go from, I'll give you an example of how not to do this. I'm old, and so I don't care if I wreck myself a little bit. Where shall I go? High larynx, terrible sound, right? Doesn't feel good, doesn't sound good. By the way, when pop singers make horrible faces while they're singing, that's because it doesn't feel good. Okay? So what I'm going to do here, I would sing, where shall I go today? And then it's the same voice, it's the same sound, and it's not that rising of the larynx. So Oliver, let's start here. Where shall I go today? Breathe and sing.
Where shall I go today? 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 Where shall I go today?
Yeah. Well, pretty amazing. How's that feel, Oliver?
It feels good. It feels way lower than an A flat.
Well, yeah. Why does it feel lower than an A flat? Because your larynx isn't in your cranium, right? Oh, that's wonderful. I didn't expect that was going to be that good to start out. All right, let's do this one. Okay, so as you're thinking about this, and that to find that earlier, do this. Sing where shall I go? Almost an oo vowel, because for those of you who are just starting with this, I'm telling you what's going to happen. You're not going to hear yourself, and you're just going to continue going go, 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 and you're going to crack, and you're going to get frustrated, and you're going to say, Tucker doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, you really should be doing this under the advice of a voice teacher, or certainly a great set of ears, because if all of a sudden you stop sounding like Oliver, and you start sounding like a 12-year-old prepubescent boy, something's wrong, right? You speak all day, you should be able to sing a little bit longer than 20 minutes. Okay, so demonstrate a little bit over, too much. So it's going to be where shall I go? As if I come from Minnesota. And
Where shall I go today? 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 Where shall I go today?
good. Now clearly that's over, and that's not yelling, and the voice is very free. But that at this point almost sounds a little bit too over, too hooded, and it is, because he doesn't need to do that, because he knows how to do it in a more open, relaxed way, but still the position of the vowel is an O, and it doesn't rise. The larynx stays in a comfortably low place. Now, Oliver, demonstrate for me here, because one that really can be tricky is the E vowel. The E vowel in the male voice can really drag up the larynx. So I want you to sing for me, let's sing ship. So we're going to do ship. Just one syllable. Ship. And
Ship.
line it up.
Ship. Ship.
Breath. Good, all right. So what I hear Oliver doing, I haven't had him do this exercise before, so he's like, okay, what is this? But he's going in and out, a little bit open and a little bit over, right? I want you, Oliver, here at the C natural. At the C natural, I want you almost to go to a little bit more E, right? But with lots of space in the back.
Okay.
And ground it down there at the lower abdominals. And there you go. That we're not fighting that. The E vowel is probably like the last of the vowels of ease to come into his instrument, right? He still wants to go at those a little bit. So a little bit more, sh, instead of sh, don't just sing louder for me. Turn it over. Yes. Do you feel the difference?
I do.
Okay, you all need to hear the difference because that was completely different. Now you keep that feeling in. That's the sign. That's the sound of your larynx not on crack. And. Yep. Start giving me space, but don't expose the vowel. Good. Any questions with that, Oliver?
I don't have any.
Doesn't that feel much better?
It does.
Okay, so folks, what we're going for here is we're going for not allowing the larynx to rise. I don't want you to bury it. It's not a matter of going, right? That's got so much pressure and tension in it, it's not even funny. But it is about maintaining that space that you find on the inhalatory position. So the space that you find, sing always in that space, because that obviously is the space of the body at rest. We breathe not in singing, we breathe not to take in vast amounts of air with which to put out a sound. Primarily, as far as I'm concerned, the breath is what relaxes the body so that it can sing another phrase, and that all ties into musicality. I don't say, Oliver, here's how I do say rather, Oliver, so how's the summer been going? I don't go, Oliver, so how's the summer been going? Have things been going well for you? Because I know that, right? That's not every thought requires a breath and something else to say. So singing, once again, has to come back to that. Inhale, quietly, sing. No holding. What shall I do? What shall I do? What shall I do? So it's always set up. So there's never a grip on the sound. Oliver, let's do some ka, o, 9 tones. Breath. So that's really wonderful work. Do you have anything that you would add? That like maybe consider, I didn't tell you I was going to ask you to do this, but I think this makes sense. If you were speaking to yourself last year, what would you say, having learned what you've learned?
I would say I need to learn to modulate my vowels a lot more in order to turn over it. The vowels I was using was hard to get that space in my throat, but I figured it out now, and I think it sounds fine.
Yeah, and you know, like I've mentioned in earlier videos, sometimes people will be like, "Oh my God, but that doesn't sound like how I want to sing. That sounds like an opera singer." So I'm going to ask Oliver to sing a little bit of a wonderful tune for you, "Marry Me a Little" by the great genius Stephen Sondheim.
I'm ready, marry me a little.
So anyhow, I mean, that gives you an idea of what you can do with a very easy technique of breathing, singing, opening the body, and staying out. I look forward to all the success that's going to come Oliver's way. Once again, I mean, he's so young, he's 18, right? And he's got it all going for him. So thank you very much, Oliver.
Thank you for having me.
You bet, man. And y'all have a great day. Remember, singing can be as easy as you want or as difficult as you choose to make it. That choice is all up to you. I look forward to seeing you back here for some other videos. I hope that anything that I've had to say and that he's had to demonstrate helps you with your singing or in your teaching, because that is the entire purpose. Take care. God bless you. Have a wonderful afternoon.